from campus. Come on, tell me walk one. Campus connection, yeah, and that's a one. Yeah, walk one from campus. How we are carry lot from campus. Come on, tell me walk one. Campus connection, yeah, and that's a one. Hey, some make us on then listen, let me tell you this. Students, I will make we do this. Oh yes, we create this space just for you. Make we talk about you, make we talk about school, government and politics, sports, academics, anything that concern you. I don't know when love pass through. It's all about the gospel. So tell me what one from campus. Youths are going on from campus. Come on, tell me what one. Campus connection, yeah, and that's a one. Yeah. Hey, I walk one from campus. And we are carry lot from campus. Come on, tell me what one. I walk one. Hey, walk one. Everybody want more.
All right.
Greetings, one and all.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Campus Connection. It's another lovely Tuesday evening right here on Love
Boy,
101.
are you excited? Because I'm excited.
I am excited. We actually have some very intense things to talk about,
Very,
but
very intense things,
I'm
but
still excited.
let's introduce ourselves now. I'm Jonathan Fletcher, and
Hi,
you
Jonathan
are.
Fletcher. I am Anesta Samuels.
And you're
Ah,
tuned into Campus Connection here on the family station Love 101. If you are watching us online, welcome. That's at Love 101 FM Jamaica on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. If you're
mhm.
listening in Radio Land, big up yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate your presence here this evening.
Certainly. And we're looking forward to today's show. As we said earlier, it promises to be an intense one. We're talking about the topic of Jamaican students' mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when we get to it, you'll see why I say it's
Yeah,
intense.
yeah.
But we
But
do have our education news and bulletin coming up, and we do have I Chose Christ, You Should Too. Welcome back to that segment on the show.
definitely. And I really do believe that, especially with what is going on in today's society,
Mhm.
today's show is absolutely important. So, if you're watching us online, please share the link with your family members, your friends, your groups that you're in on WhatsApp, because this show is going to provide some insight, necessary
Mhm.
insight, even as relates to what is happening on our campuses based on what we would have experienced and we would have seen and heard in the news.
Oh my lord. And as I said, looking forward to that discussion. But even before we get there at 5:45, we do have Adrienne McNeish coming
Mm-hmm.
on. She's a fourth form student at the York Castle High School, and
Mm-hmm.
she is the 2022 winner of the National Customer Service Song Competition. And I'm looking forward to us just talking with her as well. So, of course, this week's episode is in honor of National Customer Service Week, which spans from October 2 to 8. So, we're looking forward to talking with Adrienne when she comes on a little later on.
Definitely. So please, as much as it is possible, stick and stay with us, because at 6 p.m. it's our Let's Talk About It segment, and we have several heavy hitters with
Whew.
us this evening in this segment. We're talking about Jamaican students and their mental health, factors contributing to violence in schools, what kind of psycho, social, and socio emotional support are available and being implemented for students, even in violent school environs. And how can we make schools safe again? What can the church do? What can parents do? What can the community do? So many questions we have this evening, and we have Reverend Osborne Bailey, who's going to be joining us, Executive Director of the Victims Services Division, Acting Assistant Chief Education Officer in Guidance and Counseling, Mrs. Kennedy Davidson. So yeah, you want to be a part of that conversation.
Yes, and in the same breath, we want to extend our condolences to the family of Michion Campbell, former
Hmm.
student of the Kingston Technical High School.
Yeah, definitely. Also in that segment, we have Mrs. Tracy and Taft Thompson, president at the Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors, and Linvern Wright, president at the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, and also the principal of William Nib. Boy, we have a lot. We have a lot that is going on. Definitely. All right.
And if we make it to our hashtag trending segment,
If we do.
we're asking the question, what do you think can be done to end violence in schools? And we look forward to your feedback on our YouTube or Facebook. And you can also go to our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125.
Mhm.
All right.
Definitely.
So it's
Ready
time for
for the news?
education. Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm
Let's go
ready.
to the news.
So we
So
have
in
with us Ashana Jackson. She's a final year student at the University of the West Indies, Mona, pursuing a journalism major in and a minor in Spanish. Welcome to our student partner for the month of October. Welcome, Ashana.
Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everyone.
good evening,
Good
Ashana. All
evening.
right. Take it away.
Welcome to Education News for Tuesday, October 4th, 2022, here inside Campus Connection. I am Ashana Jackson. In the aftermath of Thursday's stabbing of a student at the Kingston Technical High School, a senior law enforcement officer is recommending that administrators collaborate with the police to conduct more unannounced searches at institutions across the country to find potentially deadly weapons and other prohibited items. Deputy Superintendent Linval Phoenix, head of operations for the Kingston Central Police Division, made the suggestion after 16-year-old Michion Campbell succumbed to injuries after reportedly being stabbed by a 17-year-old student during a dispute at the downtown Kingston based school. Phoenix said that preliminary investigations indicate that the students got involved in a dispute and knives were brandished as the conflict escalated. Campbell was stabbed in the left side of her neck and forehead, while the other student received injuries to her left wrist. A video recording of the attack shows Campbell being collared by the student before being stabbed in the neck. The Ministry of Education and Youth is maintaining that teachers and administrators should not deny students entry to school as a form of disciplinary action for infractions deemed in breach of established rules. Schools are not allowed to do that. There are too many risks associated with that. Once a student steps on the school compound, we act in the place of parents. I've consistently said that there should not be any locking out whatsoever of our students from school. Portfolio Minister Honorable Favour Williams has emphasized. Meanwhile, Mrs. Williams said the ministry will continue to advocate for students' adherence to rules in order to maintain order and discipline among the youngsters. She noted that schools are ideal places to teach students the importance of obeying established rules. Students from 27 high schools will benefit from information and communications technology clubs being initiated by the Universal Service Fund, with the aim of strengthening the integration of technology in learning. Club activities will include exposing students to user experience or user interface designing, coding, animation, and other areas. Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance will partner with USF to guide students on various industry trends. The fund, which is an agency of the Ministry of Science, Energy, and Technology, hosted a sensitization session on the initiative at the Medallion Hall Hotel in Kingston on Friday. Portfolio Minister Honorable Darrell Vaz said that the digital age calls for more exposure of students to cutting edge technology and, of course, equipping them with the requisite resources, digital skills, and competencies for future careers. As digital natives today, students speak the language of technology. Just over 21,000 pieces of school furniture will be delivered in the next 2 months as the Ministry of Education and Youth continues to invest in upgrading educational institutions across the island. Portfolio Minister Honorable Deval Williams provided a breakdown during a post-cabinet press briefing held at Jamaica House in Kingston on Wednesday. He said 15,500 pieces are desks and chairs for students, as well as 1,600 pieces for teachers. An additional 1,200 pieces of trapezoidal tables and 3,600 chairs are also being made. They are being manufactured locally by secondary students under the ministry's school furniture program. It's now time for Campus Bulletin. The Clancarty High School is celebrating its 42nd year of existence. They opened their doors to students on October 1, 1980. To mark this milestone, they will be hosting a week-long celebration which started on Sunday, October 2, through to Friday, October 7, 2022. Week activities include October 5, Weddy Wednesday, Games Day, October 6, Talented Thursday, Bag, Hat, and Socks Day, and October 7, Free Friday, concert and jingle competition. And that's all the news we have for you today inside of Education News and Bulletin. I am Ashana Jackson.
Wonderful job, Ashano.
Very
Welcome
good
to the
job,
show.
Ashana.
Thank you.
All right, take care. And
Okay.
so you just heard Education News and Bulletin brought to you by Ashana Jackson, final year student at the University of the West Indies. And she's pursuing a major in journalism and a minor in Spanish. So, Jonathan, what's up next?
All right, it's now time for I Chose Christ. You should too. It's the feature where we listen to the young people, the reasons why they decided to choose Christ. So sit back, listen, and be blessed. And for those who are online, watch and be blessed.
Hello, my name is Shamar Jackson, and I am from the St. Catherine High School. I am currently the president of ICF there, and I just want to tell you about the goodness of God, how God has been keeping and protecting and sustaining me throughout all my years of high school and even before that. And He has continuously been my guide and my protection. Whenever I'm in need, God is there to provide. Whenever I am down, God is there to uplift. And God has just been that centerpiece of my life. Even recently, I've had encounters where I'm between two roads, literally, and I just ask God for direction, and He gives me direction as to say, go here or go there, don't go there. And it's very good when you have the Holy Spirit to guide you and to tell you what to do from what not to do in this world. Because if you don't have the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of God within you, then you will get lost, even as a Christian in this world, because that means there be no guide for you. So I just want to give God thanks for all that He has done and for everything He is about to do in my life. And I just want to encourage someone out there and let you know that God is a God who cares. God who is a God who is willing to help you through any situation that you're going through. There's nothing too small, nor is there anything too big for God to handle. So all you need to do, just rely on Him some more. Lean on Him and not on your own understanding. And just trust God in all your ways. In everything you do, acknowledge Him, and He will. He will direct your path. He will guide you. He will tell you what to do from what not to do. And when you have God as your guide in this world, and you cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong because God is not going to lead you down a path that is not right. He's all righteousness, so He's going to lead you to everything that is good. So my encouragement is to you is to choose Christ because I chose him, and so should you.
That was Shamar Jackson, ICF president at the St. Catherine High School. And she's actually a performing arts member, school band member, and a peer counselor. So she's not just about, serving Christ, she's also about being involved.
Everybody loves a good testimony.
We love it. We love it.
We love it around here because when she started talking about how she was faced with a decision and had to ask the Lord, okay, it's time for the break. We can't. But yes, that was good.
Yeah, we understand. All right, we're going to a quick break and then we'll be back with more Campus Connection after these messages.
Sometimes all we need is a listening ear. The listening ear, the counseling, the logical reasoning, and spiritual guidance are what appeal to us. That's why I'm here. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, the counselor, your counselor on Love 101 FM, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. You know you can call on me. I will listen and more. So let's talk about what's bothering you. Anything. Tune in, listen, call in, text or voice message. I'm Dr. Joan Pinkney, counseling psychologist, ready with a listening ear. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, 10 to 11 p.m. Right here on the family station, Love 101 FM.
When you've been around for 100 years, you've seen a lot. And at Grace, we've seen you enjoying meals while watching a movie, sometimes while watching a game, or being extra picky while watching your weight. We've been there serving up meals for the big moments and helping you take care of the little ones when that lunch bell rings. And with 100 years of great taste that has moved generations, you can be sure we'll be here for 100 more. Grace, celebrating 100 years of taste that moves you.
Jamaica's gangs are like packs of rats. They live in filth and try and drag us all in there with them, spreading the disease of violence and corruption everywhere. But like a pack of rats, they can be eliminated with your help. If you have information on gangs, call Crime Stop on 311. This message is brought to you by Crime Stop and their marketing partners, Lime and NCB.
Okay, where are the campus heights? Students are strapped up in a price.
All right. Welcome back to Campus Connection. If you are just joining us, we have a very packed show, a very insightful show. We're talking about a lot of things and to a lot of people. You don't want to miss it.
It's true.
It's true. If we really look at it, it's really true. So, yeah, we have to do what we have to do. So, what are we doing now?
Right now, I believe we are talking to our, what is it? Let's talk about it, people.
No, man.
I know that.
Creative block.
Oh, all right.
You see, the amount of things that we have to talk about and the amount of people that we have to talk to, trust me. Stay with us, please. All right, so our creative today is a songwriter, fourth form student at the York Castle High School, and the 2022 National Customer Service Song Competition winner, hosted by the JCDC and the National Customer Service Association. And she's no other person than Adrienne McNeish. Welcome.
I can't wait for this interview right
Adrienne.
here.
Hello.
Adrienne McNeish.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, welcome to the Creative Block.
Thank you.
So, first of all, congratulations on your winning the National Customer Service Song Competition. How does it feel?
It's very exhilarating. I'm very excited. I'm very happy that I won again.
Again. You just had to throw that in there, just casually, Again. By the way, again. All right, that sounds good, man.
So Adrian, I listened to your song, and in a few minutes we'll probably play the song. But I loved the song. I loved the vibe, and most of all, I think I loved your voice. Being somewhat of a songwriter myself, like one of the things I remember being in school and trying to figure out like how to put the knowledge that I had into song. Like
Mm.
explain for us like what was your creative process in, even coming up with this song? What inspired you?
Well, for me, I've been writing songs since I was 5 years old. Well, not really writing them, but I was creating them, coming up with them. And I think based on the knowledge that I've learned in school, that's the subjects that I do, like English language and English literature, developing an understanding of how to portray my emotions or depict them
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I can express myself, because I've
Mm.
been writing songs all my life to express my feelings that if I don't let them out, I wouldn't understand them. So
Mm.
yeah, I've been writing songs for a very long time, and I think that with any themed competition, once you get a theme, you really need to sit. I sat for a very, very, very long time
Mm-hmm.
trying to come up with a very strategic way of making this song. I know what I wanted. I have to know what I want from the song and how I
Mhm.
want to depict this song. Last year when I won, I want for that song, I wanted it to be a scenario. So the song went, if I could get a little piece. Walking a stop on a Sunday morning, people they are work and stress is calling. Ask Miss Cashier for a bag of rice and a pound of flour. Then my ask what's the price. The roll of ice and give me attitude. Miss Cashier, don't be so rude. So there I'm basically telling a story of,
Mhm.
I went to the shop and she wasn't showing me respect,
Right.
good respect and politeness and patience with me as qualities that a service worker should have.
Mhm.
So I wanted to show the scenario, but this year it's about reigniting culture and celebrating customer service excellence. I really wanted to show how we do it, why we do it, where we do it. That was my idea
Mhm.
for that song.
Listen to me, let me tell you, you can know a star, You can know a star. You realize she's like, oh, can I just give you a little piece and just go
Yeah.
straight into it? Because, I am a star and you're going to listen to my song. We love it. We
Jonathan.
love the confidence. We appreciate the confidence. But, Adrian, can you walk us through the process of writing this song? This year, when you did the song, what was the
So,
process?
so the process basically was first, I sat for a couple of days trying to
Mm.
really understand how, as I just said, how I wanted it to be. If I wanted it
Mm-hmm.
to be a situation where I'm telling a story, if I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to say what, when, where, or how, which is what I,
Mhm.
I believe I did.
Mm-hmm.
So I sat for a couple of days and I sang, I wrote this song, and believe me, it was not the first time I wrote this song. I have many prototypes of this song.
Mm. See,
Many
you're saying this is the refined version. This is the end product
version
of the
of this song.
mastermind process that you went through.
Yes.
So,
So
what about the music? I'm sorry to cut you. What about the music? Was that also a part of your whole process, or did you just find a random track and just sing to it?
for me, I don't know. I believe that all songwriters would understand this. If the track is not right, the song is not going to be right. If the track is not right
Okay.
for that moment, it's not going to be right. I sat and I listened, I can tell you, I listened to like 20, 30 instrumentals, and I found the one that I wanted.
Mhm.
And I said, you
I
know
know
what,
that
this is
way.
the one. This is the one, exactly. This is the one I'm going to write to. And
Mhm.
I believe that lyrics are like stepping stools, are like dominoes. As you get one, another one, you get another one, you get another one, you get another
Mm.
Okay, superstar. All right.
one. Mama said,
Coming
Wow.
through with
I see why
analogy.
you're the winner. Wow.
But Adrian, seeing that you're the customer service queen, right? Can you share with us what do you think about the importance of customer service. How important is good customer service?
Well, I think it's very important because when you like, I believe you need mutual respect. The first thing you go in a
Mm,
shop, you need you because you have to give respect to get respect. You need
facts.
to have patience, politeness with people. And I know sometimes, especially now, times are hard and people are gonna be frustrated. But you have to remember that you're not just representing yourself. You're
Mm-hmm.
representing a business. You're representing an entity where you have to. You are representing them through yourself, and you have to show certain qualities that you would want them, your the business to show.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And have you ever had any bad experiences with customer service? Like, is this a real life story walking in the shop and the cashier giving you attitude?
Please don't share the name of the cashier now.
Well, I rarely have experiences like that, experiences, but I have had some where it was like
Adrian?
very important
Okay.
part of me. So
Uh,
I see it's not being so disappointing.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Adrian, for being a part of this evening's campus connection. That
Mm-hmm.
this is Adrian
Niche.
McNish, ladies and gentlemen, the customer service queen, as I'd like to call her.
Yeah.
She's the 2022
Thank you.
winner of the JCDC National Customer Service
Songwriting competition.
Songwriting Competition.
It's a whole mouthful,
It's
but
a lot.
understand it's a lot to say. But I just want to point out, Jonathan, that Merle Grove High School actually took the third
Here
place
we
in that
go. Here
competition.
we
So big
go.
up to the Merle Grovians that entered.
Can I actually say something?
Sure, no
Absolutely.
problem. Go ahead.
My auntie is the principal of Somerville High School.
True.
So
Wow, I
big up to
cannot be
them as
bothered.
well.
I cannot be bothered.
Wow. So
Listen,
it's
let's
like
play the
this just
song.
going the
Let's just play
family.
the
Yeah, all
song
right. Play the song. All
because
right,
I
sorry,
can't
sorry.
bother.
Thank you so much, Adrian. Wait, any shout outs before we play? Oh, just like play the song. All
Oh,
right.
Play the
shout
song.
out to my mother Jody and Phyllis. Shout out to my father, Orville Matney. Shout out to my farm teacher that has gone away. Two of them, Mr. Mackenzie, Miss Campbell. Shout out to my music teacher, Miss
Woot, woot.
Summer. Shout out to my principal, Mr. Treasure. Shout out to all of my friends and my family. Shout out to Mia Brown special.
All
Um,
right, all right.
Thank you
Here's the
so
winning
much.
song, ladies and gentlemen.
I miss the ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. Customer service excellence that we are here to defend. So grab your family, peer, a friend, and let me tell you something about service excellence. This is the celebration of dedication for people in public relation of our nation, for providing their innovation, for acceleration with their determination and demonstrations of customer care, reigniting of culture, its values we are aiming to repair, celebrating our excellence we are trying to declare, so we can have customer service excellence in every nation, everywhere. We got to celebrate the excellence, appreciate the excellence, reignite a culture of customer care. We got to celebrate the excellence, appreciate the excellence, reignite the excellence of customer care. So next time that you go shopping, remember to bless up to all the workers that you're seeing with their morals and heads up, showing qualities like patience, politeness, and empathy with no fear. Customer service excellence that they are showing. You celebrate the excellence, appreciate the excellence, reignite a culture of customer care. We got to celebrate the excellence, appreciate the excellence, reignite a culture of customer care. I miss the ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. Customer service excellence that we are here to defend. So grab your family, peer, a friend, and let me tell you something about service excellence. We got to celebrate the excellence, appreciate the We got to celebrate the excellence, appreciate the excellence, reignite a culture of customer care. Yeah, yeah. We got to celebrate the excellence, celebrate the excellence. Yeah.
No, sir. Listen,
What
Adrian.
boy?
Listen, Adrian.
I see why she won. Congratulations
Listen.
again.
Customer
Thank
service
you.
queen, big up yourself here, man.
Yay.
And all the best for the future.
Thank you.
All right. Boy, it's Campus Connection, and we're having a very interesting time
An
here.
excellent time.
Excellent time. If you are just joining us, good choice. Very good choice, actually. Because we have a very interesting show that's lined up, and you don't want to miss it. We have been enjoying ourselves. We have been learning a lot about the students on campus and all those lovely things. But it's time for a break. And
Yes.
so we'll be right back after these messages. Stick and stay.
Campus connection, yeah, and that's a one. Hey, so make us on then listen, let me tell you these students. So who know make we have to this.
National serving the people of Jamaica with your favorite foods to help you stay strong. Grab your national bottle, original, truly Jamaican. Something for all occasion, good for your breakfast, lunch or snack. Grab your national bottle, original, truly Jamaican. Best quality, 70 years strong. National build up the nation. National Baking Company, baked with pride since 52.
Fun in the Sun Community Engagement Event, Pembroke Hall High School Field, Saturday, October 15, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. with Pastor Donnie McClurkin with the Word, Colin Davis, Kevin Downswell, Rhoda Isabella, Gotti, The Right Band, MC Nadine Blair, and more. Sponsored by Sagicor, The Best Dressed Chicken, Lanneman and Morris Shipping Company, Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, Phoenix Springtree, New Testament Church of God, Jamaica Moves, Water, True Juice, Bigger, Studio 8, God Creative Media.
Grace, celebrating 100 years of taste that moves you.
The time by Grace Foods is
6:02. And welcome back to Campus Connection.
Woot woot. So before the break, we were talking to Adrienne McNeish. She is the 2022 singer songwriter winner person,
Mhm.
customer service queen, all of those things. And that was a fun discussion, sharing
It
with her
really
in her
was.
whole creative process. And now it's time for let's talk about it. So what are we talking about today,
Yes,
Jonathan?
so we had fun just now, but it's time to get serious. In our Let's Talk About It segment, we are talking about violence in schools, and we want to get into the minds of the students. We want to understand what are some of the possible factors relating to the upsurge, if you want to put it that way, of violence in schools. But please remember our social media talkback question. What do you think can be done to end violence in schools? Submit your feedback via Facebook or YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. You can hop on the live stream that we're on right now and leave your comments, or via our WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. And so it's time for Let's Talk About It. What are we
Mm-hmm.
talking about exactly, Anesta?
Jamaican students and their mental health. So we want to
Mm-hmm.
look at what are some of the factors contributing to violence in schools, what psychosocial and socio-emotional support is available to our students, and what are some of the things being implemented for our students that are in violent school environments. All right, and we have our guests with us, Mrs. Kenisi Davidson, Acting Assistant Chief Education Officer in the Guidance and Counseling Unit at the Ministry of Education and Youth. We also have Mr. Lynn Vern Wright, President at the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, and he himself is a principal at the William Knibb High School.
We also have Reverend Osborne Bailey, Executive Director of the Victims Services Division, and Miss Tracy Ann Taft Thompson, President at the Jamaica Association of Guidance Counselors.
Mhm.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. to Campus Connection, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Very pleasant afternoon.
Hello,
Wow.
hello.
So we have a very interesting topic, a very packed topic. So we're going to try as much as possible in the next 20 minutes to unpack all of this, right? So what we want to ask firstly, what are three factors that you believe has contributed if there's an increase in school violence? Mrs. Staff Thompson, we'll go with you first and then go down the line. So everybody can just give you three factors that you believe.
All right. Good evening, everyone. There are a number of factors, and you've brought me down to three. So let me. I have to pick my top three now.
Yes.
But a big area I believe is poor parenting.
Mm-hmm.
Parenting skills need to be strengthened. Um, in terms of supervision and the absenteeism of parental influence in the students' lives,
Mm-hmm.
especially during the teenage years. I also have here the imitation of negative influencers, the ones who the students are most spend the most time with. For example, those in the media space. So
Mhm,
you have
Mm-hmm.
your artists and your you even have the communities and even
mhm,
the relatives that some of the students are left with.
mhm,
And my final point is for us to bear in mind that hurting people hurt people. So
Mm.
you find that there are a lot of unresolved emotional scarring that these students have been carrying, maybe from
mhm,
the primary age right up to teenage years. They
mhm.
have been victims themselves of abuse
Right.
and different forms of abuse. So once those are unresolved and brushed aside as if, oh, sure, no, nothing, you find that they retaliate. So
Mm.
those are my top three.
Wow. Thank
All
you for
right.
that. Let's go to Mrs. Davidson.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Mm,
evening.
Just to pick up on what Mrs. Staff Thompson referred to in the last factor. So you're looking at the adverse childhood experiences. We're looking at poor anger management and conflict resolution skills. And I would go with the other being the inability to effectively control anger impulses.
Mhm.
mm.
All right.
Okay.
Sir Bailey.
Good afternoon. First of all, let me say
Greetings.
that I am the immediate past director of victim
Oh,
services
okay,
in
okay,
our
okay,
family life ministries.
okay.
And I'm going to perhaps elect one or two so as not to overlap.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there is some amount of learning, which was kind of touched on before. You know, they see behaviors that they seem to feel makes them hip and hype and so on. But I want to perhaps spend my time talking about the absence of a value system,
Mhm.
Mm.
right? Which I don't hear a lot of talk about. When I was going to school, there was a village that used to raise the child. Now the village has been burnt down,
Mm.
and the children and the women have been taken away, and little boys and children and so on. And so we are trying to get them to adopt a system that does not really exist, that none of us can articulate jointly like when we were children.
Yes.
And we're afraid to talk about that because we don't want people to say, boy, it's church people thing. And I'm trying to get in to start beating back people's children. I'm not talking that. I'm just saying there's an absence of a one system.
Yeah. So that's
All of,
right across the board.
yes, like when I was a child, everywhere I go, I know that there were some things that were wrong.
All right, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. That is important.
Mhm.
Sir Right, unmute for me.
Yes.
Yes. So three factors that you believe would be contributing to the upsurge in violence in schools.
Well, one is the gated community approach. I think we have to dealing with our children, where
Mm-hmm.
what we have done, if we really just move away from the hypocrisy, we have some schools in which the violent encounters are higher than in others, and our selection process for PEP, right, is just one of the hoaxes that we have as a system that actually crowds everybody of a particular social experience and a particular social background, and having the worst adverse childhood experiences in one place. And we
Mm-hmm.
are expecting that in those schools that they are going to have the resources. In fact, those schools are the ones that have the least resources to actually deal with the issues, because the teachers are usually just overwhelmed because of the numbers that they have. And we have when usually they are the ones who, when they send to, for example, the state agencies for these children to be sorted out, they have too many, and the state agencies don't spend enough time to actually help these children recover, because a child who has developed adverse childhood experiences and the effects of adverse childhood experiences over 10 years or 15 years of his or her life cannot be redeemed in a week of therapy, right? And one of the things that, and so if it is that hypocrisy is one of the things that is causing things, because what will happen when you have these things, we have counselors going in when we have the murders. They have come into my school already. But after that, the support just wanes because it's a knee-jerk reaction that we have to things. What we need to have is something that is sustainable. One, we
Mm-hmm.
want to ensure that the state agencies are properly funded to ensure that the magnitude of the problem is matched by significant funding and significant human resources to actually deal with the issues that we have.
All
So
right.
we are going to continue to have those issues if it is that we don't deal with that. And we're going to talk again next week and next year and
Mm-hmm.
years down the road if it is that we don't have that. So we have these conversations continuously if we don't do some of those things. We can talk about some things as we go further.
All right. No problem. No problem. No problem.
Yeah, certainly. All the factors that have been mentioned so far, I would say we're definitely seeing the effects of some of these things. But my question to let me throw it to Reverend Bailey. From your experience, what exactly is going on inside of the minds of our teenagers, those in our high schools? What's going on in their minds?
Well, you have to approach it from a theoretical perspective because there are so many things that impact the mind. So let me take the ones that I mentioned. When a child is immersed in a context where they are normalized to certain behavior, then what goes on in their mind is what they're doing is right.
Mm.
They don't go to something is wrong with what I'm doing. And so that is interestingly, I think you would want me to say what going on in their mind is some confusion. No, they don't have any confusion because they have been normalized
Mm-hmm.
to believe that this is the way it has to go. There's nothing else to be and do but what is being done in their community. So that
Mm-hmm.
is
Mm-hmm.
one thing that's going on. For
Mm-hmm.
those who go in as victim, they go through us, because those are the going as perpetrator. Those who go in as victim, they go through various stage.
Mm-hmm.
They go to panic, they go to helplessness,
Mm-hmm.
they if all the way up to what we call depersonalization, where literally the child split off into one that can deal with the violence and the other one just succumb to being the victim.
Yeah.
And so all kind of psycho-emotional reality can happen for the victims separate from the perpetrators. And I mean, there's a long list of them that I just want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting, interesting. Mrs. Thompson, though, from where you sit, do you think though that the guidance counselors, because we do believe that the guidance counselors, if you want to put it as them being the moral compasses in the schools, do you think that they're equipped to deal with this generation?
They are equipped, they have studied, they
Mm-hmm.
have their degrees and master's level. They are equipped. The issue they're having is the lack of manpower. So
Mm.
you find that the programs are excellent, um, and they can be excellent. But again, if they don't have the manpower, they don't have the financial backing, you find that it will become weak. or they won't be able to execute it any at all due to lack of time or lack of funding. So counselors are equipped, but equipped academically, and they're there physically, but they lack the support of finance and manpower.
I don't agree, but I hear you.
All right,
All
that's
right.
fine. I
All right.
understand.
Well, let's hear your take on it, Reverend Bailey.
I guess the narrow way you ask the question with whether they are equipped, yes, you answer. But remember, they are not alone to themselves. They are operating within a system.
Right.
So there are four things that you use. If it's a behavior change matter, the
Right.
last time I checked, and because you clone me as reverend, perhaps I should say I'm a psychologist, right?
All right. All right.
Four things that can change behavior. One, you have to have a standard of what behavior is.
Right.
That the ministry is responsible for establishing. Are they equipped for that? Not sure. You
Yes,
have to
they
find
are.
some way to reward people to want to change.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have strict consequences of wrong behavior. That's another third thing. And
Yes.
finally, divine intervention. There's no other way to change behavior.
Amen.
I'm not advocating any particular one. I'm just saying behavior cannot be changed through any other means.
All right. I'd
But can
really
I
like.
add? Can I
Okay.
just
But
say
before you
correct?
add though, Mrs. Tuff Thompson, I'd really want to hear Mrs. Davidson's
Right.
view
And
on
I
this.
think Mr. Wright had his hand up as well. So
Yeah. So, Mrs. Davidson, could you chime in for us concerning the whole essence of guidance counselors? Are they equipped to handle this generation?
Because Mr. Wright had his hand up, I'll defer to him and then I'll respond.
All right, not a problem. Sir, right?
I just got to one thing. I am principal of a church-run school. But I'm going to say something now that might be controversial. And Sir Bailey, I will say to you that one of the things that I think we have a problem with in Jamaica is that I think because we have a default to prayer all the time to say the prayer is going to do whatever. There's a school I used to work, it says prayer and work conquer all. And I think that there are too many people who believe that when we get to that, the spiritual aspect of children's life is just about having a prayer and having a wonderful devotion. The schools are having great devotions. And I'm seeing that kind of thing. And I think we are afraid to talk this because we feel that God is going to do something. But God, it says faith without works is nothing. And I think what is happening in our schools, and I hear you, sir, in relation to prayer, and you speak about some of those things.
I never said nothing about prayers.
No, you spoke about God. You spoke about, and I'm saying,
divine intervention.
Divine intervention.
And I'm saying, when you check countries like European countries, their adherence to many of the religious practices that we have in Jamaica is not even 5%. And they do not have half the issues that we have. Because what I think they have done is that what would have been the works that are necessary in terms of building relationships, getting rid of the hypocrisy, right? And not just doing it in words and just doing it in calling on the name, but you call on the works and the expectations that God would have of you, right? Instead of just saying, oh Lord, do the work and do what it is that needs to be done in terms of the family work, in terms of what ought to happen for these kids, in terms of building relationships. When you get into many, many schools, what we have is a lot of us going into these schools to talk to them. I have said to my people, look here, if you're not going to have a program where there's going to be a relationship with these kids that is sustainable, because what many of our children need are people who are going to build a relationship with them that will help them to break many of the cycles that they have come used to. So I've heard Rev speak to, for example, a child who might be in a mode of behaving a certain way that it becomes culture. You break that culture by relationship and having time. What is happening in our schools is that what we are doing, if you notice, at the end of each year, we do PEP analysis, we do CSEC analysis, and what parents are concerned with is how much my child has passed. You are right, Rev, when you spoke about a value system. Our value system is more about attainment and competitiveness and coming first. And what is happening is that the children who need people with a heart and an aim to educate the soul of these kids, to transform them, those adverse experiences. There is very little in our education system that is pushing that in a sustainable manner. And I say, if we don't get to that and start to talk about it and have people doing the work, it's hard work, And I make one last point. The person who is doing this transformational work, and you may know it, Rev, is someone of Jamaican parentage in California. She's a Surgeon General of California, Nadine Burke Harris. Adverse childhood experiences, she's a person who has done maybe the most significant groundbreaking work on it. And
Mm-hmm.
what she has said is that some of the same things I hear Rev saying, that when the children have come up through this, the physiological, their brain change physiologically, in response to these adverse childhood experiences. And what it needs is significant relationship building, significant sustainable work, significant social support, significant and education system that is supportive of them without the kind of hypocrisies that we see, and the resources, human
Mm-hmm.
and physical and monetary resources to help this, because it's a massive problem we have.
Okay. So right. So you're basically saying that after the prayer, then what? That's basically
Basically,
what I'm
yeah.
getting.
Before
All
and
right.
after, before and
All right.
after.
No
It, it,
problem.
it, it, it,
But
it must
I want to,
Hold on.
but
Hold
I
on.
want
Hold
to
it
on,
must be a
Miss
challenge,
part of the
Davidson.
cocktail.
Hold on, Miss Davidson.
before Una say, was advocating prayer. I just want to say this, right? I just want to say the last thing on my mind. Remember, I told you when I started, I did not want to come on here as reverend.
Psychologist.
I want, because the last thing I believe you would have thought is that I was talking about prayer. In fact, I said it in a way to say that that is not what I think should be the primary focus.
Mm-hmm.
I am
I stand.
telling you, I believe with all my heart, having been director for victim services for many years,
Mm-hmm.
that was not, I wasn't talking about divine intervention being the answer. I'm saying there are only four ways.
It's just a part of it.
I don't even believe we're ready to talk about that yet. We have some other.
All right. Listen. It seems as if we're going to need a part two based on where
Definitely.
the conversation is going. But really want to hear from Mrs. Davidson before we wrap.
Yes,
Thank,
please.
thank you. So, having listened to everyone, I have been a part of the Ministry of Education since 1999 when I entered the schoolroom. And so, the moment you're in a schoolroom, you're a part of the Ministry of Education, even though sometimes people think it's a regional office. But we're all a part of a system. We talk about value system, the Ministry of Education, not just the Ministry of Education, but there's a national task force that is leading the charge for the implementation of character education right across the board. It is not just for schools, so it's speaking to that value system that encompasses every sector, every stakeholder group, every area in our country.
Mm-hmm.
Because I listen to my colleagues speak to growing up, but in growing up, your adults were your protectors. There were some conversations adults would never have in the presence of children.
Yes.
And now the child walks past expletives to school. That's the last thing he hears before he gets onto
Mm-hmm.
the school compound. So the first person he meets might be greeted with an expletive.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And then we have become a very punitive society where we don't teach the behaviors, we punish. If the child is not doing well in the math or the language, we're
Yes.
teaching. But
Mm-hmm.
then we fail to be teaching and to be restorative in our practices.
Mm-hmm.
We will never disagree that there are resources that are needed. But I listened to Mr. Wright, and when Mr. Wright mentioned the whole matter of how we are looking at the children with the childhood, the adverse childhood experiences, we also have to put in that conversation the adults who are in the schools that also have experienced adverse childhood experiences as well, and they too need healing. And so sometimes we do so much for our children, and we can appreciate that, but we sometimes forget that if the teacher is mentally not stable, mentally not sound, how then do you develop that bond with your student to get your student to listen to you? How do
Mm-hmm.
you develop that bond that allows a child to want to be like you? And so we also have to pay attention
Mm.
to the mental health of our teachers, of our adults in our schools, because sometimes they react to the children instead of responding.
And when you react to a 16-year-old boy, he needs to defend something.
Yes.
He needs to show something.
Mm.
And so it is a system where several people are hurting, and the President Taft said it quite beautifully. Hurting people.
Hurt people.
Hurt
Hurt
people.
people. So we have a way to go, but we are looking at, yes, Mr. Wright, you're so correct. Because for years the guidance unit has stressed that we don't, while we know you need the support when there is a traumatic incident, we don't want to be running in creating confusion, then we're gone, and when the real emotions start to surface, we are not there. The ministry is looking at changing that. And so years ago we had probably just 7 education officers in the guidance and counseling unit. Today we have 37, a complement of 37 members of the unit. And that number is still not enough, but we're taking the decision.
It's growing.
It is growing, and we're taking the decision to work through the school-wide positive behavior interventions and support framework to strengthen our schools. Because even if you give schools all the resources, in some instances, if you don't treat who is coming to you, you have a problem. We have improved in the area of providing guidance counselors in our primary schools because we long ago had to acknowledge that if I send 10 students to Mr. Wright, and they're coming from 6 primary schools that never had anything to do with guidance and counseling or value systems or that kind of effective support. Mr. Wright will have to be teaching this from the ground up. And so we have, while we have not yet been able to give every primary school a guidance counselor, we have moved towards implementation of cluster-based counselors just to strengthen that. Because if you don't teach the child behavioral expectations, he's just going to do what he thinks is right.
All right, all right. A lot to unpack, I did say it before we started. Thank you so much, Mrs. Davidson.
You're welcome.
We are going to need a part 2, and we'd love to have all of you back next week, if it's possible, same time, same place for this discussion. We may even have to go into part 3. Who knows?
Who knows?
Because, so many things to unpack. But thank you so much, each and every one of you, for taking the time out to speak with us here on Campus Connection. And all the very best, God's guidance and intervention, right, as you continue in the school year.
And may I just say quickly, though, because Mr. Wright made a very salient point, and I supported him because when Mr. Bailey spoke to divine intervention, I know we have been practicing a lot of praying, and that works too with everything else at work. But spirituality has nothing to do with religion. And that's where sometimes, so when you speak about the Europeans who might not practice Christianity or religion the way we do, but seem to have a better character education system, is because it's strong on spirituality. And that's a conversation we're looking at too, because that forms a part of the character education that will be rolling out in the nation very soon, we hope.
What a way to end the discussion, Mrs. Davidson.
Wow. I have so many questions about that. Please come back next week, please.
All right, take care now.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Evening, everybody.
Take care.
All right. Boy.
Campus
Jonathan?
Connection.
I don't know.
Listen, if you're not here next week, I don't know what's wrong with you. You need to be here next week. We want to dive in deeper concerning this topic, because, boy.
Yes. I definitely will be praying for our schools, though.
Yeah, man. We have to continue to pray. But I agree, though. After the praying, what next? I really do agree.
Because praying supposed to be the place where you hear from God as to what to do.
You get the answers.
So, yeah. But I can't wait for them to come back so we can talk some more.
All right. This was Campus Connection. Thanks to all our listeners for taking the time out to listen, and for those who are on. Oh, we actually had a message here from Joan Dawkins in Connecticut. She's saying that we can start by bringing back devotion in all schools, teaching religious education, aka Bible knowledge, more ISCF, and all of those good stuff. So, boy, bring your comments next week. We want to hear from you, please. So thanks to Tony K. Bramfield, our producer, technical support from Timor Butler, and to our guests, Adrian McNeese, Ashana Jackson, Mrs. Kennedy Davidson, Reverend Osborne Bailey, Mrs.
Doctor.
Trust, Dr. Osborne Bailey, Mrs. Tracy, and Top Thompson, and Mr. Lindburn. Right. I'm Jonathan Fletcher.
And I'm Anesta. We'll see you next week.
All right.